Well, hey there, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Island Church Weekly Podcast. I'm your host, Matt Lombardi, joined as always by Pastor Will. How you doing today, Pastor Will?
Just super, Matt. Hope you're doing well, and each person connected with our church, hope they're doing well too. We're moving into summer, getting a little warmer.
I know. Every single time I take a step out the door, I'm thinking, okay, why do I live in Florida again? And then I look up and I'm like, oh yeah, it's the sunshine. That's why we're doing it. We put up with the heat. It's the sunshine. It's beautiful. So speaking of beautiful, how was it down at beautiful Tierra Verde Island Church on Sunday morning?
It was a great day. It was our first week, Matt, in our new schedule. We had the 9:30 gathering. We're calling that the gathering, and some refreshments. And so that was really good to enjoy the time together with people and to have a few refreshments together. And then our service at 10 o'clock. And so it was just a good day in the morning. That was the new schedule. The worship team was able to uh, come in an hour later, so that was good for them because
Yeah.
most of the time they've been the earliest ones there practicing, and so that was a little break for them. And everybody kind of needs to change of pace a little bit, and so we began doing that this past week. So we had that in the morning. It was a good service all the way around. A lot of good feedback on the message, on the music. Someone said that's the most head nodding affirmation in a sermon that they had ever seen at Island Church. So
That's great. That's great. Well, it's definitely head nodding. I'm guessing there wasn't anyone standing up giving praise hands or anything like that. It's not
well,
quite
I
the
don't know.
sweet on the island.
That's right. That's right. We didn't have
Uh,
anybody coming down the aisle dancing, but it was
yeah,
a lot of affirmation in the message and what I was able to communicate, and so it was good. And just really looking at Jesus. I mean, we need to live like we're on the victorious team. We're on the winning team, and that was a big part of the thrust of the message. And but anyway, it was just we need to be all in for Jesus. So, and I think we and I have a mutual friend who loves to say all in for Jesus. So
all in for Jesus. Yep, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so help us. I know there's some fun stuff coming up this summer at Island Church. Tell us what's going on that people need to be aware of.
well, let me back up and finish. Oh, I almost forgot Sunday night. So Sunday
Oh,
night we had momentum.
yeah,
So we had Charles Blanton's world famous barbecue. I mean, it's just amazing. Charles did a great job with that, and um, so it was the fixings with it, the support dishes, they were outstanding, just really really good. And so we did that 5:15, and then we had our momentum at 6. And so we just walked through again, celebrated some of the things that God's been doing in the life of our church. That's a good thing. We talked through different types of things that are upcoming, um, but particularly talked about the building. And so
yeah,
we passed out drawings of the building, our building plan, at least the first kind of phase of that. And so they're pretty close to being set. We may make a little adjustment in the new building or not. And what we do inside our current building related to children, well, that'll be a little more extensive in terms of rearranging to really serve our children well. But that's a kind of a next phase. This first phase is pretty close. It's very exciting. A lot of good feedback from that. A lot of good ideas. We had meetings last week on this as well, plus what we did on Sunday night. So it was exciting time on Sunday night. Great
yeah.
food, good engagement. Look at the plans, look at the future, asking God, just to bless us as we move forward to try to enter our mission field, because Tierra Verde and beyond is really our mission field. So it was a good day.
Awesome,
Now you
awesome.
asked me about the future.
Yeah, what's coming up?
That's right. So we have begun our summer schedule, at least on the one part of it, with a gathering at 9:30, and then our 10 o'clock worship service. Our signs reflect this out on the byway. If you've been out there, and people will see that. And what's coming up in terms of June, we'll be having our summer meetups on Wednesday night. So if you don't have anything on Wednesday nights, or even if you do and you can make it 6:30, we'll probably be here 45 minutes, maybe 50 minutes. Or we're gonna have some type of connecting type of time. We'll probably have some testimony, and then I'll bring a short devotional, and that'll be good. Plus, we're planning fun things like bowling and baseball games, and some grilling and outdoor stuff, and all those kinds of things. So that doesn't begin until June. But speaking of June, is Father's Day. Really celebrate it and try to honor all of our women, whether they were mothers or not. We all had mothers, right? And we understand the value that women play in our church. And actually, they played in Jesus' time too, in terms of Jesus' engagement, and they just play in the world. And so that was a couple of weeks ago. But when we have Father's Day, we're actually going to do a steak dinner. It will be for the entire church, and we're going to do this in honor of all men, whether they are fathers again or not. The role of men in our society and the role of men in our church is really important. And a lot of places in society are beating up
Yeah.
men, and we want to be advocates for men and their rightful place. You know, they have the highest command of this maybe in Scripture, to love their wives as Christ loves the church. There is no stronger really command than that command. So anyway, well, we want to honor them in their role. And so we're going to do this on Father's Day. So prepare for that. I think we're probably going to charge $10 a person. We'll probably have hot dogs for kids, so they'll be welcome as well. But this will be immediately following our 10 o'clock service, or I say immediate, probably be like 11:30 ish, right? Something like that. But we're gonna be setting that up, and so we'll have that for on Father's Day, and so that's kind of what's coming up out there. Plus the summer meetups on Wednesday nights. Those are two big things.
Yeah, that's going to be a good time for both. So if someone wants to be praying for Island Church this week, how can they be praying both for themselves, but for the church?
Well, I think one of the things I'd like to emphasize this week, Matt, and I know that this is an individual choice and people are making decisions about this each week, but we don't say very much at all about offerings. And I want to say just a quick word here. Just evaluate and consider your giving. And I know in Sandy and I, this doesn't mean that God punishes us when we don't give. But anytime that things get going sideways with us, and have through the years, our almost 40 years now of marriage, we would say, are we up to date on our giving?
Yeah.
And it's just a good reminder. We don't need things to happen like that to have a reminder. So I just love to remind us to say, hey, how are we doing in our giving? We give to the Lord, and we trust Him, and it's entrusted to the church, but actually it's to advance His mission. Every dime is given is really an advancement of His kingdom. And we're the only people, the church people, the Christian people, are only people who can advance His church. A lot of people care about the environment or animals or any number of great causes out there, but we are the church, and we need to heavily support. And the way I've done this for our entire marriage is we support the church first.
Yep.
Not it's the church first. And then if we have an additional pocket that we would like to give out of, then we do to something else, to some maybe mission cause or some other cause. But we do it to the church first. And so I just encourage people, summer months are a little slack in terms of attendance, and we would encourage your giving to not be this way. We can help you set that up on a electronic schedule, either weekly, monthly, quarterly, whatever it is you like to set up. We can help you do that. You can do that on our site yourself, or Stacy would be happy to help you set that up if you'd like her to do that. And when you think about a church that even our size, if you miss several weeks and you intend to give, you add that up over time. That's a very significant hit to the receipts from which we carry out ministry. All the great things we're doing in ministry, plus what we're doing outside of us. I would encourage people to really just consider their giving this week, and pray for the church financially, that God will bring the resources and the people.
Absolutely. Amen. Man, that's a great way for folks if they're wondering, like, am I all in? I always say, like, if you're kind of on the fence about like whether or not you want to be part of a church or not, or you're kind of still exploring it, it sounds crazy, but like one of the best ways to see where God's got you is actually just start giving, because your heart will start to be like, you'll start to see your heart align with the things that God's doing in that local church. And it'll kind of put you over that tipping point where it's like, oh, no, I am all in. Like, this is where I want to be. And it's a great way to just say, hey, God, like, I'm going to trust you with this. This is not mine anyway. And so, would definitely encourage folks, if they're considering it, just test God in that, see what He does with it, see how He blesses you, but also allows you to be part of what He's doing at Island Church. So Pastor Will, thank you so much for taking the time today. Thank you for the ways that you're serving us and just pastoring the church in such a great way. Thank you all for watching. We will see you here again next week.